Bang. And we are live. Let me just send out a tweet, let everybody know that we're on, and we'll get this show on the road. View on YouTube. Here we go. Come on. All right. Let's get into this damn thing. Avio, what's going on? Let me take a sip of my coffee real quick out of my beautiful MMA Lock of the Night mug. Your boy is swagged out with a bunch of MMA Lock of the Night shit, as you guys can tell. Ooh, a little cold. Ah, well. I've been sipping on coffee since I got my ass up at like 10 a.m. this morning. Had a late night finishing up the best bets and props article for the guys over at the Patreon. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go check that out. But you guys are here for UFC Vegas 13 TBE. Notorious, what's going on, brother? Jazz, what's going on? It's good to know that that's your handle now on YouTube. But yeah, this show is pretty straightforward. I mean, I take comments and questions pretty much from everybody about the card tonight. A later start than we're used to. If you guys remember, the last couple cards we've actually been getting a little bit early. 4 p.m. Eastern prelim starts, 5 p.m. Eastern prelim starts, and I was really digging that. You know what I mean? To have cards done by like 10 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I was fully on board with that shit. But now it looks like we're gonna have another long night. We got a 10 p.m. Eastern main card start, which means we probably will be going to like 12:31 a.m. But whatever, it's Saturday. Let's get it going. Good evening from Russia, my brother. Good evening, man. I love seeing when I can see the demographics of where everybody's watching my stuff from. There's a bunch of people in Australia. There's a bunch of people in the UK, Ireland, Switzerland, and now Russia too. Whereabouts from Russia are you, brother? I know Russia is a big ass country. I don't know why I have such a fascination of just like Google Mapsing Russia and just seeing where all these fighters are from, just like you know, where Movsar Evloev is from and where Peter Yan is from and all these guys. So it's such a giant freaking country that it's just interesting to see where everybody's pretty much at least in comparison to like St. Petersburg and where Dagestan is and stuff. It's really, really cool. Yeah, I definitely hate waiting too. So we'll start off this episode with pretty much just going over my bets that I have for tonight. Obviously, like I said, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys already know my paid versus free picks policy is pretty much anytime I hit 3 straight winning events with a lock of the night play on it. If they all hit profit, I go back to paid picks. But the best and easiest way that you guys can get that stuff is Patreon. It's $5 a month, super cheap. I'm not trying to break the bank with this. It's more so to just help it's more so to just it's more like a subscription service. Like I kind of look at it like Netflix or a bunch of these other big podcasts out there, like about a bunch of comedy podcasts. Just charge $5 a month for an extra episode a week. And I'm not able to go out there and really give you guys an extra episode a week or anything, because I don't think people want to hear me like more than 2 or 3 times a week talking about the same fucking fights. But the early access, all the picks, the best bets and props article, that's just a little bit more incentive to get you guys on the Patreon over there. So once again, I'm at like 135 now, I believe it is, which is nuts to me. I was struggling last year when I did first kick this thing off, and now I think I found my groove. And the number itself, the amount of patrons that I have, is a marketing tool in itself. So 135 people trust your boy to at least pay $5 a month to help me try to make this a full-time thing, and I greatly appreciate it. So Dave Milhouse, what's going on, man? It's been a long time since I talked to you. I remember we did the UFC 246 breakdown together way at the beginning of this year. I can't believe 11 months has just flown by like that. That's crazy. close to the Polish border. Makes sense. Makes sense. Good luck tonight. All right, let's go over the bets that I got. So lock of the night play, nice and simple. When these guys were first scheduled to fight in September, I actually made that my lock of the night play as well. Alexander Romanov versus Rogerio de Lima to go under 1.5. I got it initially at -140 in September, and now I got to settle with -191, and I'm completely okay with that. If anything, Romanov, even though he didn't get the under 1.5 last time around against Roque Martinez, I'm still more than I'm more than confident that he should be able to go out there and get a much less durable Rogerio de Lima out of there quicker than he did Roque Martinez. So yeah, I love that. I love the under 1.5. I love it all the way up to -250. I'm sure it's juiced to this point, probably at like -220. I still believe that there is some solid value there. And if you're not the type to play straight chalk, I think it's a solid parlay piece too. So you're more than welcome to go out there and do that too. Dog of the night play, Glover Teixeira. I thought when this fight was announced, I was going to be that guy with the golden ticket. I thought I was going to be that guy that's like, all right, guys, Glover Teixeira, that's the dog this week. And I thought a lot of people were going to be on Thiago Santos. It doesn't seem like that. However, I did expect the line to close much, much more than it is right now. Glover Teixeira is still hovering around that +180, +200 spot. I think there's a ton of value there. You can make an argument that this could be even a pick 'em fight at this point in time, given all the circumstances we have going into this. You guys don't want to hear me bang the drum on all the issues that Thiago Santos has going into this fight. I'm sure you've heard it over and over again this entire week, but I'm very, very confident in Glover Teixeira here. It's been a long time since I've played at least 2 units on a dog here, especially at +206. The last big main event dog that really comes to mind that I took this year was Derek Brunson over Edmund Shabazi, and I think I got him in that +300, +280 range. I had 1 unit on him straight, and then I added another half a unit at +300, and that came through big for me. So I'm hoping that my confidence in underdog main events or the main event underdogs continues tonight, because I think Glover Teixeira has a ton of fucking value. And then I have so I had a parlay of Adrian Yanez, Kevin Holland, and then I finishing it off with Tanner Bozer. I had 2 units at -110, so I'm hoping to close that parlay tonight and get that cash. And then Yan Xiaonan, 1.5 units at -120. And I can't believe I actually banged on the line movement here and got that -120. Shout out to Pinnacle for dropping some of the best lines. But yeah, when I looked at the graph for the odds and how they were shifting throughout fight week, I was surprised I was able to get it so bang on. So yeah, those are the only 4 plays I have tonight. I do have my Hail Mary Patreon parlay that I throw out there on the Patreon, and then obviously the lottery parlay as well. But yeah, 4 plays for me tonight. Keeping it nice and efficient tonight. Not really trying to break the bank out here. But I'm really liking next week too. I already have a couple breakdowns posted on the Patreon for next week. And I literally just wrapped one up before I hopped on live with you guys for the Morona McKee fight. But I'm liking a ton of spots for next week. So I definitely believe that I'll have more bets next week than I had this week. But all right, let's get into the comments and questions that you guys got. I love going through this whole thing. You are right, Jazz. Everybody's on Glover now after everybody's freaking hearing about it. But still, I expected to close. I was expecting like Glover getting down to like +130, +140, +150, but it doesn't seem like that. Maybe closer to fight time, as we still have, roughly 9. Actually, we have, 10, 11 hours still before the fight happens itself. So what is my man Jay here got saying? De Lima was subbed by Struve, so should be a quick sub for Romanov. You're right. The funny thing is in that fight, if you guys remember, De Lima goes out there and lands a big shot on Struve right off the bat, grounds Struve, and then just hangs in his guard for 4.5 minutes. And then in the second round, just from trying to hold Struve down, this guy gets gassed and looks like dog shit. And we see Struve just fucking push him over and then subbed him. So I think Romanov should have absolutely no issues getting this guy to the ground, working it. I think we could see De Lima sucking win by the 2 or 3 minute mark of the first round here, but I think that Romanov gets it done. My only issue here in terms of like picking the actual prop of the sub is that I could absolutely see a situation where, he gets De Lima's back or something and just starts raining down shots. So I'm not the most confident in picking out a straight out prop here rather than inside the distance. But I think inside the distance for Romanov is like -300, -350. So I kind of get that. If you want to get a little bit of value, maybe the sub is the way to go. But I could absolutely seeing him get some kind of King Kong type ground and pound finish as well too. So keep your don't get too invested on one prop here. Yeah, Jazz is right. Glover's line has been disrespected the last two fights of his. You're right. I think there's more of a case for him to be, the line to be closer here against Thiago Santos, given all the external factors for Thiago Santos going into this fight. But yeah, that Anthony Smith one was tough for sure. Eric Delgado, the John Jones effect. You're absolutely right, dude. A lot of people are like, look at Thiago Santos. He arguably won that fight against John Jones, but they're not looking at the fact that John Jones has been fighting to his competition's level for the last several fights now. I mean, Dominic Reyes, same thing. A lot of people are like, all right, Dominic Reyes won. And then what happens to Dominic Reyes in his next fight? Gets finished by Jan Blachowicz. So yeah, don't put too much stock into guys having close fights with other guys, especially if it's John Jones. Yeah, I mean, John Jones has not looked the same since like a while ago. Like if the hardcore fans remember when he first won the title, he was just absolutely running through dudes, and now he seems to be okay to just eke out decisions against some of these guys. And that's not saying that Thiago Santos is John Jones level now. And that's why I think a lot of people are getting honey dicked with. So I'm not believing in it too much. You think Giga will get his first finish tonight? I absolutely do believe he'll get his first finish tonight. I was looking to actually bet it officially myself. I was hoping to get minus 150-ish. It looks like those days are long gone, but I do think his in the distance line is a solid parlay worthy prop if you're on one of those books that allow you to parlay props. Morgan Kinsey, what happened to Santos? Come on. Come on. If you really don't know, actually send another comment and I'll let you fucking know. But it's been beaten to death this whole week with what's been going on with Santos. Yan by KO, I do like that, man. I might sprinkle a little myself on that round 3 prop. I believe it's like plus 1950. Yan by KO is even plus 750. I think it's a solid spot for her. But yeah, I do like that. Thoughts on RDA being damn near plus 400 against Makhachev next week? Big dis he spect. I love the he spect. Shout out my man Eric Delgado. I haven't done the research on that fight myself yet. But that is definitely a spot that has caught my eye. Given that this is also Makhachev's first fight at 5 rounds, I do want to confirm if it's actually at 5 rounds. Given it that it was somewhat short notice. We've seen that in the past couple fights now, or some of the events where there's a last minute main event put together, and they make it a 3 round instead of a 5 rounder. I believe it is 5 rounds. So yeah, it is 5 rounds, and yeah, I think that favors the veteran here in the RDA. So I will more than likely get into that fight today and drop the breakdown on the Patreon today as well too. So if you want to hop on over there and see my actual thoughts on it after I've done the research and the studying, you can do that. Steiner Blow, good seeing you here as always every week. You're close to being that number one diehard fan for me, so I appreciate seeing you in the comment section as always. Glover side, did any other dogs tempt you this week? So officially I haven't played any other dogs, but in terms of dogs that I picked, let me pull that up for you real quick. Not really. So Gustavo Lopez actually opened as a dog to Anthony Birchak, but we have seen steady money come in on him to make him the favorite now. So that kind of takes that out of question. Outside of Glover, the only other one that tempts me a little bit, but I even picked against him was Ramiz Brahimaj. He has solid jiu-jitsu. I like his aggressiveness. I like his ability to go for finishes and all that, but the lack of cardio does kind of concern me if he's not able to get the finish. And it's been a long time since we've seen Max Griffin finish via submission. So yeah, there's not many dogs. Like these last couple weeks have been really, really tough to find a dog. I think it's like 22 out of 23 fights or something, only 1 or 2 dogs have won. So yeah, it's tough. I think Gadelia, there's a solid case for her. Maybe her inside the distance would be possibly the best way to go. But I do have an official bet on Yan Jianan at minus 120. Minus 165, I think that's a little bit wide here because I do think Gadelia could pull off a submission here. But if you do feel confident in Gadelia, don't take the plus 155. Go with her via submission or even inside the distance. Gadelia inside the distance is plus 425. Gadelia by sub is plus 600. So I think Gadelia by sub plus 600 is a solid hedge here. Brian Lockhart, how do you feel about Brendan Allen? That's a close fucking fight. I think this is easily the closest fight on the card, hence why the line is pretty much at a pick 'em right now. You know, well, the Lewis and Giles fight is pretty close too, but this is the closest fight between two guys that are actually talented. And I don't mean to shit on Giles and Lewis here, but I love Allen. I love Heinisch too, but I do lean Allen here. This is a fight that I'm just going to stay back and not even bother with, though. You know, I mean, I think Allen wins it. Questionable cardio going into that third round in his last fights. Maybe that's something that Heinisch could take advantage of. But we have seen Heinisch taken down time and time again. So I think that if Allen gets this fight to the ground, he could have some massive success with his ground and pound and with his jiu-jitsu. But I'm just not confident enough to play myself. Even at that pick'em line, like that's a good line if you have confidence on either side here. But I do favor Allen a little bit more, but I'm not sure if I'll actually. Well, I definitely won't be making a pick on him. I think I just have Allen in like a degenerate parlay or something like that, but nothing official here. Moyes Audio, what's going on, brother? It's great seeing you every week as always. Don't get the love for Raheem much. I kind of get it. I kind of get it, but not enough to actually go out there and play the plus money on him. Obviously, the best thing to do and best thing for most bettors was to get him at that plus 160 line that he was at, when this fight initially got announced and when the odds dropped. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like that he's at Fortis MMA, but I don't like the smaller or the narrower path to victory that he has here against a heavily tested Max Griffin, who's been around in the UFC for a while and seen a ton of guys that have a similar style, and he's been able to. He's been able to survive, and that's the thing. So if he's able to survive the first round and a half or so, I think he should be able to take over later in the fight. Let's see, Jay, what do you got? Should we be worried about Arlovsky's energy and slight size advantage seen in the face-off, or should Bozer still get it done? Bozer's been doing the damn thing even as a smaller heavyweight. You know what I mean? The only loss he has in the UFC is against Cyril Gane, who I made it an argument for like on numerous podcasts, especially when talking about Cyril Gane himself. But Cyril Gane is like a bigger, more athletic, and more explosive version of Tanner Boser. So obviously Tanner Boser is going to go out there and lose that fight. And the fact that he didn't get finished either too is a credit in itself. That shows the durability of Tanner Boser. But I truly think it's going to come down to like the leg kicks and the movement of Tanner Boser here to actually, try to immobilize Arlovsky as best as possible and then start to get his hands going. People want to read into the Philippe Lins fight a little bit too much. I have a little bit of an issue with that, as I believe that Philippe Lins is a little bit more of a calculated and measured striker and looks for his openings and tries to, maximize the damage when he does open up. And that kind of makes it a little bit iffy whenever fights go to the decision for him. So I think Boser has a little bit more output, has the ability to mix it up more, especially with his leg kicks. And I think that we'll see Boser, given his movement and his leg kicks, he should be able to go out there and outpoint Arlovsky. I'm not sold on the inside the distance on Boser, even though a lot of people are like, oh, look, he finished his last two fights. But, that one of them to Rafael Pessoa, that was like a knuckle right to the eye. You know what I mean? It's very rare that you ever see that happen. If that knuckle doesn't hit the eye, does Pessoa survive? And then the Philippe Lins one was a legit knockout. But Arlovsky's been durable. You know what I mean? The only people to put him out recently have been Francis Ngannou and Jairzinho Rosenstrike. And I don't think that Boser has that type of power. So I think we'll see more so of a decision here from Boser. And that's the side that I'm leaning. But I do already have Boser in a parlay when he was down at minus 250. Had him with Yanez and Holland, hopefully to close that parlay tonight. Young Bulla, what's going on, brother? I can parlay Giga and Giga under 1.5 for plus 104. What do you think of that spot? I'm surprised that you're able to find a bookie that actually allows you to parlay more than one thing from the same fight, but I'm not 100% sure about the total in that fight, man. We could see Giga kind of play it safe, try to, get the guy tired from like takedown attempts or anything like that. I obviously wouldn't recommend playing Giga straight here. He's more of a parlay piece. But then again, how much value does it really offer at minus 800, right? I think at this point, Giga might be out of realm of parlay material at this point, but I do think he definitely goes out there and gets the finish. I'm just not sure over or under 1.5, man. He likes to play it safe sometimes, but we have seen him really go for the kill, especially against Omar Morales last time around. But If you are putting a gun to my head and tell me to pick an over or under, I do pick the under. I think he could definitely land a big shot early in this fight and put out Jamie Simmons, but I'm not the most confident on that spot either. Jazz, what's going on? I think people are sleeping on Ian. Everybody seems to be on Allen, but I think he gets his face beaten in. Plus 400 inside the distance is tempting. I'm not mad at that plus 400. Why not even try to sprinkle that round 3 prop where we've seen Brendan Allen kind of fade, at least in his last fight for sure. So, yeah, it's a close fight, man. That's why I don't want to bet Allen here either, because Ian could absolutely pull off. Well, it's not really an upside given it's a pick 'em fight, but I think he has a solid shot of winning this too. Moy's audio, his win condition is round 1 and sub. For sure, you're right. But how good is that submission game, right? I think Max Griffin should be able to handle it. So yeah, I do like Griffin for sure. I bet Heinisch around 3 at plus 1900 and TKO. That's a solid spot. I do like that. Gavin James, what's going on? Do you play on DraftKings? I do not play any DraftKings, unfortunately. Oh, damn. This guy's rating me with compliments. I love it. Do you play any DraftKings? You would be in the top 0.1% of knowledge tier for MMA and would have serious edge compared to the field. Way more upside than side total betting. You know what? When time does free up for me a little bit more, Gavin, I'm definitely going to be giving DK a shot. I just don't have the patience of building out these crazy amounts of lineups that people do. If there's a tool that helps you build out lineups, and especially in mass quantities like most people do, let me know and I'll probably start to give it a little bit more looks. Ryan Kloon, I play FanDuel. I think that's pretty much the same thing as DraftKings, right? I'm not sure if they have a difference in the scoring system. Is that something? Brian Lockhart, which is second best bet after the Romanov fight under? My second best, I'd say, is Romanov and Bozer parlay. You know, what I mean, if for 5 times, if you parlay that, I think it still might be a little bit chalky. Minus 167. I personally, I do have an unofficial Bozer and Romanov parlay for a large sum of money. So I'd say that's my second best bet outside of the under here. Gavin James, FanDuel is rough, way smaller contest prizes, and tons of chopped first place finishes. Okay, I guess I'll stick with DraftKings. You see any boxing plays today? I don't even know who's fighting in boxing today, my guy. I apologize. I know you're always in the stream every weekend, martial arts fan, to get me on the boxing ways. But God, doing MMA alone while holding down a 9 to 5 is already time enough. So it's tough for me to really go there. Martial arts fan is going for Ian. Makes absolute sense. That is a 50-50 fight as much as it gets. So if you can get plus money on either side, I think it's a win for you. But again, I'm going with Allen here for sure. Gavin, yeah, there are differences in how DK and FD is scored. DK favors grapplers who can advance positions, and FD favors early finishers. Interesting. I wonder what people's approaches are. Like, do they prefer DK over FD, or do they play both? You know what I mean? Ryan Kloon, once again, helping me. For example, DK gives points for reversals, where FD does not. I appreciate that. Brian Lockhart, yes. Yeah, Romanov Bozer. Like, it's chalky, but sometimes the chalk is worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Obviously, the Bozer and Arlovsky fight may look a little bit closer on paper because Arlovsky is always going to these close decisions. But I think the tools that Tanner Bozer brings to the table will not make this a closer fight. Yeah, it may go to decision, but I think that Bozer will be able to create a lead nice and early and start to build on that each round. We're up to 33 live viewers here. I'm used to getting those 90 numbers. I remember last time before I got off, we went from like 50, 60 all the way to 90, and then I had to hop off. So I'm only doing these things for 60 minutes. I mean, my time is already full of a bunch. Let's see what else we got here. Samid. I'm sorry for butchering your name, brother. Yes, Parlay Bozer Romanov. I think that is a solid spot. CD816 stars. Barcelos finish Taha. I do believe he does. I think he finishes him via submission. I love Barcelos. I love the talent that he brings to the table. Yeah, I think he is a very, very solid spot here. So Barcelos is a good spot. Let me see what Barcelos inside the distance is actually. That might not be. Barcelos inside the distance is plus 105. Ooh, I might need to make a last minute play there. That's not bad. 1 unit on Barcelos at plus 105 for inside the distance. I think that's a solid spot. What else we got here? Martial arts fan back with Gustavo. Yep. Romanov inside the distance. Giga and Ian a parlay for fun. Again, the Ian leg of that parlay has me a little bit hesitant for sure. Plus 397 is not a bad odds for that either. What do we got here? Eric Delgado back in the chat. American election just wrapped up. Could be why the why the drop in numbers. Yeah, for sure. I'm not totally on board with the whole, if the elections are going on that you should not do a live stream. I think MMA fans are more than down to watch a live stream regardless if there's an election going on. So I'm gonna do an election or not. Don't give a fuck. Martin D, what's going on, my brother? Elkins, Romanov, Xiaonanan, and Bozer parlay for 3K win. Not bad, not bad. I am a little bit hesitant with Elkins. I do believe he wins. Don't get me wrong. My concern is when that chin shows, and is Gary going to be the one to expose it? I don't think so. But yeah, I do think Elkins does get it done. Yeah, solid spot there, dude. Good luck tonight. Good luck tonight. I think that's a solid parlay. CD816. I like that Barcelos inside the distance at plus 105. I absolutely agree, my guy. What's the under 2.5 though is minus 120, so there's a little bit of juice on there. I might have to take that Barcelos inside the distance plus 105 after I hop off on this, but I do like that for sure. Boza straight with Vandera. Nice. That's good. Vandera obviously cashed you early this week, so that's a solid spot. Let's see. Yeah, I'm surprised the line moved as much as it did towards Gustavo Lopez. That's it should be around a pick 'em in my opinion. I think Cody Safdie said last night when we were on the odd stream that he prefers the plus money side, whichever side it is here, and so I believe he's going with Birchak. But I do think that Gustavo Lopez gets it done. What's going on? We are questioning Elkins' chin. Landwehr through the kitchen saying, "I know, man." But that's the thing, Gavin. You don't know when that guy's chin is just gonna like the amount of damage he's taken over the UFC career that he's had. At one point, it's gonna go out, and I believe that Landwehr definitely throws much more than what Gary Gorey throws. So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit more confident in Elkins in this spot than I was with him against Landwehr. But yeah, at any time that chin could just say "see ya," and we don't know. What do we got? Young Bula, would you take any fights from this week and pair them with next week? So obviously you guys know me in terms of what I believe is most parlayable this week. Bozer, Barcelos, Giga just adds such little value to parlays that I think it's just not even worth it at this point. Obviously Romanov, Elkins, I'd say he's my least favorite parlayable piece, but definitely parlayable. But you could definitely pair any one of those guys with I like Al Hassan next week. I like Hansen next week. I got to look into Marquez a little bit more. He's been off for a long time, but I don't really think much of Safarov either. The Molina fight is off. I think Gravely is a good parlay spot too. I was going to say Daniel Rodriguez, but that fight just got scrapped as Brian Barberena is in the hospital for something, so I'm not 100% on that. So I hope that helps you out, young Bula. Starter bloke, favorite most likely to rip a stunt tonight. Probably Elkins. Probably Elkins. Maybe even Yan Jiaonan. But again, is it really called a stunt if it's worse than minus 150? Or sorry, better than minus 150, minus 160? But yeah, I'd say, well, Thiago Santos, I guess you can say is pulling a stunt if he's at minus 220. That's why I wouldn't say anybody parlay Thiago Santos or even play him tonight. The value side is definitely Glover to Shera. Gavin James, very true. You don't know when all those miles accumulate. Eventually, pow, you're right. We saw it happen overnight with Chuck Liddell, right? When Elkins' chin goes, it shatters. It'll be a quick drop off, and he'll be getting foot. Yeah, that's why I'm not so confident in Elkins tonight. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not willing to go out there and play that minus 250, minus 275 now for my man Darren Elkins. So I'm not with that. Devin Haney plus 400 by decision. So shout out to my guy, martial arts fan, for that plug for this boxing tonight. I might sprinkle a little bit on that. I'll give you a shout out next week. I know you're always on the stream, so you'll be able to gloat next week if that hits. But I might sprinkle a little bit on that. Shout out, appreciate you dropping that knowledge for us. Pair with anything you fancy. For tonight, my parlay would be Romanov and Bozer. But again, next week, Hansen, Al Hassan, and there's one more name that I said. Yeah, I'd say those are the two solid spots for next week. What do we got? Minus 500 by KO is Haney. I think he can get it, but he's not the biggest power puncher. True. Personally, I've only heard the name Devin Haney. I'm not sure much about him, but I've heard a lot about him. That's all. Parlay Romana plus Giga by KO. Not bad. Not bad, especially if you have access to those books that allow you to parlay props. Add Bozer KO. I'd rather add Bozer straight. Again, I'm not 100% sold on the fact that he's going to go out there and finish Andre Arlovsky, as I don't believe he has the finishing power of a Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Francis Ngannou, who have been the only ones to stop Andre Arlovsky as of late. Martin Doyle, what's going on, brother? Holland to step in against Hermanson. Yeah, some great potential grappling here, but shame about Till dropping out. I agree, but I'm kind of happy for Kevin Holland here. He's been one of the few guys that's been remaining active in the COVID era, but has had most of his opponents fall out. And now it's obviously a huge step up to go from the guys that he's been fighting all the way up to Hermanson, especially in a main event spot. But I'm very, very happy for him to get this spot. However, I do favor Jack Hermanson heavily in that fight, and I can't wait to see what the odds say for that. Elkins is a false favorite. He's a favorite that I wouldn't trust tonight, but I am picking to win. Looking to Gravely. Yeah, I think Gravely is a solid spot. I love the guy's style. I love how he fights. And I think he has the solid ingredients here to win against Geraldo de Freitas. Minus 275 for a shit-eating wild man, as Saftik likes to classify. No, thank you. And I believe Gavin James is referring to Darren Elkins here. Minus 275, not on weight of money, but on bookie sucky confidence. True. Hansen next week and Jan at 255. I do like Hansen next week. I will say that much. I haven't got into Jan Aljo, but pre-tape, I definitely do lean my guy Piotr Jan. They had to be teeing up. They had been teeing up Holland, and they feed him to the absolute lions on Hermanson. Yeah, dude, I think Hermanson absolutely has the advantages in this fight, and I think we'll see the strength of Hermanson really play out in that fight too. But I'm really looking forward to that. Hermanson is not. Oh, yeah. Hermanson was plus 100 against Till. Yeah, that makes sense. But I expect him to be like minus 250, minus 300 against Kevin Holland. If you get anything better than that, I think that's a steal. So for sure. Sorry, man. I want to fade Marco. She flopped to the floor and got subbed by Dern when she didn't have to. Let's talk about probably the worst. If you want to talk about stunts and a half here on Randa Marcos to just go out there and play in the grappling realm with Mackenzie Dern. And even in pre-fight, she's talking about like, all right, I know I need to stay away from the grappling. I know that's not where I want to be. And where does she end up right away? On the fucking ground in the grappling exchanges. Man, I love Randa Marcos. I've worked with her actually when she was fighting on the regional scene up here in Ontario. But got to be some of the worst IQ you've ever seen in a fight, specifically in that one. But I'm looking forward to getting into that fight with her and Kanako Murata, who's a solid grappler herself. So I can't wait to see how that fight plays out. But I think after this stream, I might jump into that fight, do a little bit of research, and see where I come out on the other end. Obviously, I'd rather wait for odds to come out to see like, okay, how much that actually impacts my thinking of that fight. But yeah, that should be a fun fight to get into. I know a lot of people aren't really looking into getting into women's MMA fights and all that shit, but I do at sometimes. Like the Hansen and McKenna fight was a fun one to actually look into. So yeah, the breakdown for that is already on the Patreon if you guys want to go check that shit out. We still got about 27 minutes left on the stream. 45 live viewers. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys watching me on this fight day stream. Again, every fight day, the MMA Lockcast Live will be streaming from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, this is fun to do. Like time flies by just like that when I'm just sitting here talking shit with you guys. It's much better than just tweeting at you guys on Twitter or starting a Q&A or something like that. I'd rather just do this shit live and talk to you guys. You guys are always killing it on a weekly basis. Shout out to anybody that was on the odds stream last night. Not a big fan of how they decided to split up the stream. Like they did the prelim stream and then they did the main card stream. I'm not even a fan of the fact that they put just the week before. They did the whole stream through from beginning to end, but then they only put the main card to rewatch on the website. And I kind of get it from a business standpoint, but what they did last night, man, that was almost suicide, a channel suicide move right there. So I hope that next week we go back to normal and we just do the whole stream from beginning to end, one stream. You know what I mean? Jazz, I see you head now. Best of luck tonight. Let's get this bread. Everyone subscribe to him. I appreciate, brother. My guy right there. Good luck tonight, brother. I know you have those crazy prop parlays. Don't be sending that shit to me when you're like 3 picks in. Send me that shit before so I can like follow along with you. Yeah, dude. Some solid fights tonight, man. A lot of people are shitting on the fights tonight, and even next week. If you're a true hardcore MMA fan, you know what the fuck is going on. David Bravo, I was on for the prelims, couldn't find the main card stream. See, that's the shitty part. That's the shitty part of them trying to just push traffic towards the website. And again, I completely understand it from a business standpoint. Obviously, they get a lot more money from being able to translate to clicks on the website compared to having views on YouTube. But let's blow up the stream on YouTube. Let's get everybody talking about the Odds HQ. Let's get everybody talking about the crew that we got over there, and build that following on Twitter. They got 30, 31, 32,000 views on the same stream for their UFC 254 card. And yeah, I know the pay-per-view cards normally get a little bit more coverage and a little bit more popularity, but still, man, that's a good way to build a solid base is doing all this shit on YouTube and collecting those paychecks rather than trying to get those website paychecks. I think it's a little bit early for that. And you got to commend the odds crew though, like to amass the amount of following that they currently have in the short amount of time that they have is very, very admirable. But we got to start making some proper moves here to continue the forward progression of that show and that channel as a whole. So personally, though, I enjoyed it. I love talking to my guy Guru, Bleed, and obviously you guys know I'm really close with Saftik already. It's fun talking to those guys, and to do it the day before the fights is great, and to even get the type of interaction we get with the fans and the viewers is fucking awesome. So I love it. Martial arts fan, Chaos Williams upset next week against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I absolutely disagree. Absolutely disagree. My podcast will be coming out on Monday, and I've already broken down that fight. You guys can already find it on the Patreon, but I am high on Abdul Razak Al Hassan in this spot. Chaos Williams is not Munir Lazez, nor does he have that type of style. His striking is, yeah, he has some power, but god damn, his technique is dog shit. His technique is absolute dog shit. I'm fully expecting Abdul Razak Al Hassan to go out there and finish him in the first round. And you guys know me. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know that I'm not huge on betting on guys that have a very limited path to victory like Al Hassan does. All of his victories have only come in the first round. If it's ever gone to the second round or later, he's lost. But this is a fight I expect to see a prime Al Hassan type of performance where he just goes out there and dusts this guy in the first round. But man, I'm on best fight odds right now, and we're still seeing plus 200-ish for my man Glover Teixeira. People have gotta get on it. Come on, guys. I will be a little bit pissed off if Glover does not get the finish tonight. Just tweeting out the link one more time. All right, what do we got? Charlie Chips, yes, Chaos wins. Parlay it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What do you think for Piotr Jan versus Aljamain Sterling? Can Jan pull it off? I think he does, man. His striking is solid. The only real issues we've seen him deal with in the past is jiu-jitsu. Sorry, I gotta get this thing off my nose. Let me just mute this mic for. All right, I'm sure you guys don't want to hear that. I'm sure it's just as disgusting to see me do it, but whatever. I gotta clear the nose, man. I can't keep talking with this thing tickling my nose. But all right, We were just talking about Yan and Aljo. I do lean Yan, and the only real issues that we've seen with Yan is when he's dealing with guys that come with like heavy leg kick attacks. That's not really Aljo's games. I mean, like kicking to the like. Obviously, we'll see Aljo going out there and like throwing teeps and with throwing like front kicks and all that stuff. But I think that the jiu-jitsu is going to be, or no, sorry, the striking and Muay Thai of Piotr Yan is going to be a little bit too much for Aljo. Yeah, if Aljo gets it to the ground right away, like he kind of did against Sandhagen, yeah, it could get a little bit hairy. But if I'm not mistaken, the odds are really close for this fight, and I'd be okay with taking the shot on Yan here. And I believe, yeah, Piotr Yan is actually UFC 256 in December. I believe somebody thought it was UFC 255, and you're going to be in for a rude awakening if you turn on UFC 255 to see Piotr Yan fighting. But yeah, he's actually fighting at UFC 256 December 12th, minus 135. Not a bad line. I'm okay with that. Martial arts fan Arroyo as a dog. I like it. I like it too. I haven't dug into that fight yet, but I believe I may come on the outside or come out on the other end, liking Antonio Hoyo over Eric Anders. Gavin James, any additional thoughts that weren't covered on the pod on Giles Lewis and Lopez Birchak? Not much, really, man. Again, I'm getting hard, or I'm finding it hard to really get a good grip on the Giles and Lewis fight, as I do believe that both of them are quite low level. But I do lean Lewis still, and then Lopez and Birchak. As long as Lopez is able to, survive the first round and a half, where I believe Anthony Birchak is most dangerous, we should be able to see Lopez go out there and control the fight from the stand up. Even if he wants to take it into the grappling realm and show off his own wrestling skills, I think he has good enough submission defense to pull off a decision victory over Birchak here. Those are the two fights I'm trying to get a better feel for. I get it, Gavin. Those two fights are really, really tough to call for sure. No, don't say, yeah, I'm a diehard Aljo truther. I'm sorry, man, but I like Aljo there for sure. Joy about plus 700 good dog play. I believe that is a boxing play. Shout out to my guy, martial arts fans for doing that. Let's see what else we got. Gary Philbrick, what's going on? Glover to finish in third round is plus 1400. To be honest, I'd say, man, I could see a second round finish too. That's the thing. I think the best way to go here would be Glover inside the distance, so that covers pretty much anything. But if you do want to get a little bit, cute with it, I'd say just sprinkle around 2, 3, 4, and 5. If that somehow still gives you some solid profit, I think you're in the clear there. But yeah, I do like Glover to finish. I'm just not 100% sure at what time. Gavin, no worries on those two fights. He's the past one only betting, but I'm playing DK, so I might need one of those guys given the variance for early finishes. Yeah, like if it helps you at all, again, I'm going with Gustavo Lopez and Bavon Lewis. What do we got? Glover around force plus 1800. Yeah, for sure. Again, like this could come down to just Glover getting a takedown, whether it's in the first or second round, and that might be it for Thiago Santos. I mean, Glover has crazy top pressure. His jiu-jitsu from on top is insane. Like it's really tough for a lot of guys to deal with Glover on the ground. And it's crazy to think for a guy who's 42 years old, who's still like, a step ahead of most opponents when fights get into scrambling situations. His passing ability is ridiculous too. The guy passes with such fluidity, like that you think that he's like 20 years old. The guy's doing it so well at 42 still. A martial arts fan dropping some more boxing love for you guys. If you guys want to go ahead. He's dropped a lot of plays in the comment section. Make sure you guys scroll up and check that out. Eric Stevens, what's going on? MMA by the numbers. I'm not sure if you are actually MMA by the numbers since you're wearing a shirt, whatever it is. What was up with Lewis not wanting to engage with Townsend? Shit has me second guessing. I get he trains with Bones, but we have heard that before. Resume is a little sus. I get that. And one thing I do want to clear up here, Eric, is Bavon is no longer at Jackson's. I believe before the Townsend fight, he actually moved back to his home state of Georgia, and he's been training down there. And unfortunately, he deactivated his Instagram as well too, so we aren't really able to get a glimpse as to what his preparation has looked like, who he's been training with, and who exactly his head coaches are. So that's something to keep in mind here. And that I think Lewis just really wanted to play as safe as possible, given that he was coming off of 2 losses going into that fight. So again, I could see him playing it super safe again. Pushing Trevin Giles up against the cage and kind of just outgrinding him. But again, I don't have the best of reads on that fight, and I'm okay with completely passing on that fight. Jackal, why Glover exactly? Yeah, he's good, but Santos is a step above the scrubs Glover beats. So I think again, I think a lot of people are giving a lot of credit to Thiago Santos for having a close fight against John Jones, just as they did with Anthony Smith, just as they did with Dominic Reyes. And what have we seen happen to Anthony Smith and Dominic Reyes after those fights? They get dusted. I mean, I think it's John Jones more so fighting to their level than those guys actually elevating and fighting to the level of John Jones. And let's be honest, if John Jones chased the takedown as much as Glover is going to, he would have finished Thiago Santos, especially on two bum knees that Thiago Santos was. That was on John Jones, making that fight a lot closer than it should have been. And that's what people need to realize here. I think Glover, his durability is still up there. Yeah, he's been getting rocked a little bit with the, Iwan Kutilaba and Carl Roberson, but he comes back, takes these guys down, and still goes out there and does work. I'm not sold on the fact that Thiago Santos is a one punch hitter quitter type of guy, kind of like the guys that have finished Glover in the past, like Anthony Johnson. The Gustafsson fight was a little bit of an anomaly because that was a 5-rounder where we saw Gustafsson pretty much accumulatively throughout that fight accumulate the damage on Glover Teixeira and then finish him in the 5th round. I do not think that will see Thiago Santos have nearly as much output or damage as Alexander Gustafsson did against Glover Teixeira. So yeah, I believe in the durability of Glover Teixeira and his ability to get this fight to the ground, which is where he's going to have a massive advantage. Also, given Thiago Santos coming off of those very severe knee injuries, yeah, I think it's very, very tough for sure. Not him, just a support. All right, all right. Yeah, MMA by the numbers is a solid dude, so I don't blame you for repping him for sure. What do we got? Wazinia 01. Can I bet Santos to share over 1.5 rounds? I need this bet very much. I don't know, man. Like there's the Santos round 1 probability that a lot of people think that he'd be able to do. But even if Teixeira gets this fight down nice and early, he could pull off a submission nice and early too. So I'm not 100% sure, brother. I'm not. I don't have the best of feels on the over under on this fight. If you're putting a gun to my head, I will say over 1.5. I do believe that it will take, Santos a little bit to get comfortable in there and for Teixeira to kind of just endure what's going to be coming at him nice and early. But after that, I think we'll see Teixeira really start to take over. Gavin, how much value, if any, do you place on guys who could likely be released if they lose, back against the wall type of narrative? That's a solid question, dude. I think that has a huge impact on how some of these guys fight. I believe those types of fighters try to take the easiest path to victory. They try to take the safest path to victory. And that's why I think we saw Bevan Lewis go out there and not really overextend himself too much against Daquan Townsend and knew he needed a victory. So you definitely have to put a little bit of a factor into that. Not saying that's going to make guys go out there and fight recklessly. I think it's just going to make guys go out there and fight a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more safe, and maybe just grinding guys out instead, pushing them up against the cage, going for takedowns, whatever the fuck it is now. Dakota Whistler, nah, you're him now. Who am I? Oh, sorry. I think he's talking about by the numbers, what's going on. Let's see, Martin Doyle, is there any video which you go through your betting approach and strategy? If not, would you be interested in doing this for us up-and-comers? I do have a video where I talk about the 4 essentials that I believe an MMA bettor requires. Just go on to my just search MMA LOTN 4 essentials for MMA betting or something like that. I just give you guys 4 tools that I truly believe that anybody who's betting MMA requires, even if they're whether they want to go tout or not. I think these 4 things are very, very important. So check out that video. If that's not satisfying enough for you, hit me again next week, and I'll think about dropping a video that gives you a little bit more background into what I look for when I'm capping fights. Last boxing plays I see, Rashad Matthew rounds 1 to 2 plus 110. I think it's a setup fight for him to get the finish, but I wouldn't bet. Maybe a lottery parlay 1 to 3 is minus 175. I love that my guy, martial arts fan, is giving us some boxing wisdom as we go through these MMA cards for sure. Eric Stevens, word, I'm looking forward to the Lewis Giles fight from DraftKings perspective. True. And the more I look at it, the more value there is elsewhere. See, I believe like for that fight to really not be relevant would be for it to go to a decision. And I think that's where both fighters will put up the least amount of points. So yeah. TJ Kill, what's going on? You see Taha is live facing short Norris, big favorite? Not really, man, because the type of style that Barcelos brings to the table, I think it's going to be a little bit harder for Taha to go out there and get that knockout victory. When we've seen him deal with grapplers in the past, he doesn't deal with them quite well. And I think with Barcelos being so high level on the feet, he's able to mix in his takedowns so well that it catches his opponents off guard. And I think that Barcelos is going to be very, very successful with getting this fight to the ground. And I truly like Barcelos to win this fight via submission. So, like I said earlier in the stream, if you weren't around earlier, I do like Barcelos since I had the distance at plus 105. I think that's a solid spot. Teixeira by sub is sprinkle on that, depending on how the fight goes. Again, I'm not sure whether we'll get to share ground and pound or to share sub. I think both are definitely live. Martial arts fans has Santos. I don't. Aveo, you were like the first viewer on this video. Let's get to your question. Do you believe that Andre is a weathered version of Bozer? Ooh, that's an interesting take. Kind of. You know, I mean, they're both like durable heavyweights, both guys that like to go the distance, don't have a problem with going the distance, have solid cardio as well too. But I think given Bozer's knack for wanting to chase the leg kicks a little bit more, kind of sets him apart from Arlovsky in that spot. And again, that's something that's come about more recently than when Andrei Arlovsky was in his prime, fighting back at UFC 40, UFC 50, whatever the fuck it was. But Bozer's ability to implement leg kicks as effectively as he does kind of sets him apart from Andrei Arlovsky, in my opinion. But I do like Bozer for sure. TJ Kill, you see DeLima being live with more experience fighting an unproven guy that took too long to finish the body thrown in there on short notice. Nice fight last night. So, yeah, he's talking about Romanov taking a little bit longer to finish Roque Martinez. Personally, I think Roque Martinez is much more durable than DeLima here. DeLima looks for the exit a little bit quicker than most of these guys. Martinez has been in there with some solid guys too. His fight against Mirko Krokop, he only lost that due to a cut. I mean, he's going in there and fighting solid guys. I don't think DeLima is live at all. I think if you want to bet DeLima, round one, that's it. After that, I don't think he's going to have much to deal with. But I truly think once Romanov gets his paws on him, he's going to start throwing him around and he's going to start to ground and pound his face into the canvas or pull off a submission victory. I do not think DeLima is live at all. Yeah, sure, he has solid experience against other opponents, but just look at those fights, man. Like, you're getting guillotined by Antagulov. You're losing to Stefan Struve after you knocked him down too. I don't believe in DeLima at all. Punjabi Sher, what's going on, Shabkaran? Brah. Brahimaj for the win. Good luck, man. I'm on Griffin, not as a bet, but I do like Griffin. Sprinkle Bows around 2, not bad. Mega Millions parlay, big parlay. Yes, HV. I know you're on the Patreon, so I appreciate you giving me some suggestions for that bigger parlay. Gavin James, one time allows, you should bring on a guy named Brett Apley from Bet. Could be a good segue to New Lines when you ditch 9 to 5. Dude, Brett Apley is a G. He's a monster. I love that guy. I don't talk to him as much on the DMs, but I'm a big fan of his work. The guy grinds, he hustles, and that's definitely a guy that I should consult when I do get into the DK game. I like him. Brandon Allen, easy. Brendan Allen. Possibly. I don't know about easy, but possibly I do lean him for sure. Shubgarden is on Glover. Yes, sir. Let's get old man Glover a title shot in 2021. TJ Kill, Taha's only fight against grappler in UFC. He was on short notice and was still kind of Narimani, mainly a wrestler, doesn't really have too much else to his game. But we saw, Taha was fighting up a weight class in that fight too. So that is something a little bit more difficult that I had to deal with. But personally, TJ, I truly believe that Barcelos is a top 5, top 10 guy. It's unfortunate that he's like 33 years old, so he's really going to have to get it going. But I love Barcelos. I think he's very, very high level. Gavin James, Aveo, what's the take that he's talking about again? Oh, yeah, the weathered version of Arlovsky. I get that. Justin Jr., what's going on? It's good to see you in here. Bozer around 1 or 2. I'm not sure, man. I think he could absolutely win a decision as well, too. Hani, look at his fights again, and he wins. Yeah, Hani Barcelos is a top dude for sure. Gavin James, friends don't let friends bet on guys that lose that to glove. I might have to get that tattooed on me or something because that nothing else rings true. If he catches Romanov like he did Struve fight over, I'm not 100% sure about that, man. Romanov is still young. He hasn't taken much damage in his career. So I believe his durability is definitely still there, but he moves well too for a guy as big as he is. So I think he'll be able to, I think he'll be able to to avoid any of the big shots coming his way from DeLima. And DeLima is kind of a slower guy too. He's slow, plodding, moving forward, and really telegraphs his big shots. So I think that Romanov would do a good job of avoiding those big shots as too close a distance and then start to ragdoll this dude. Martin Doyle, who's my dog of the night? It is Glover Teixeira. I got 2 units on him at plus 206. Joe Dog, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you hopping in. We only got about 5 minutes left on the stream. But again, you guys can obviously go back and watch this from the beginning once again. Again, this stream is for you guys. I'm just if it's dead air or some shit like that, I'll go through my bets or go through whatever is next week or the following week. But yeah, this is all for the chat. It's all for the comments, suggestions, questions, whatever the fuck you guys have. So once again, we got less than 5 minutes left. So hit me back. So hit me with anything that you guys want to talk about, whether it's with this card or any other card. Eric Stevens, I'm having real problems being confident in any underdogs on DraftKings outside of Glover and Brahimaj. Under 8,000 is looking rough. Anyone feel different? Let my man Eric Steffens know. I think Claudia Gadella could be a spot too. Again, if she's able to go out there and pull off that first round submission, which I think a lot of people believe is her like one path to victory. She could absolutely be a good underdog here too. Ian Heinisch as well too. I'm not sure exactly what the DK prices are on those guys, but he is an underdog, a slight underdog, albeit on best fight odds. But yeah, not many other underdogs in my opinion that are live here. Most probable decision fights. All right, I like these questions. I think Arlovsky Bozer has a solid chance of going to a decision. Bevan Lewis against Trevin Giles. I think that has a solid chance of going to a decision. Elkins, Garagori, and Birchak and Lopez. So for sure. God damn, my man Steven Flanagan with some balls here. Giga Chikadze by sub at plus 1,700. If he pulls that shit off, I will start next week's podcast or next week's live show by giving you a shout out. So good luck if you actually hit that, my guy. All right, we got less than 4 minutes. You know what? Just for you guys that are viewing, I'll give you guys my highest odds on the best bets and props article that I dropped on the Patreon. Once again, make sure you guys go over and check that out. It's going to be in the description of this video. I'm at 133 patrons right now, trying to continue that number going, and it is steadily growing. And I appreciate everybody that's already on it. But the heaviest odds that I have for on my Patreon best bets, Griffin round 3, given the lack of gas tank that we've seen from Brahimaj, that's plus 1,600. What else? Yan Janan round 3 plus 1950. I think that's a solid spot for sure. Yeah, I like those spots. So you're welcome for that shit. Jared, I'm not even going to try the last name. What do you think about Jan and Claudia going a distance? It could, but I do think that we could see Jan get the late finish as well too. Given how gassed Claudia usually looks in her third rounds, and again, there's a small chance that she's kind of improving that because she did look decent against Hill in that third round. Personally, I did score that third round for Gadelia, but I think that was more so with her not giving Hill as much respect in terms of her power. But with Jan strikes, I think Claudia is definitely gonna be feeling it, and definitely gonna be hurting. So yeah, not the most confident in that fight going to a decision, but yeah, it could definitely go to a decision. Eric Stevens was thinking the same thing about Claudia. Not confident in Heinisch, and I think Allen is real deal. Good luck to everyone. Hope you all catch tonight. Thanks for the pod. Thank you for joining as you always do. You guys kill it every week, man. I've only done this maybe 2 or 3 times now, and it's been phenomenal each time. Like I have absolutely no issues filling this 1 hour of time because you guys drop like the best questions, the best comments. So it's easy to keep the stream going and not have much dead air. And then slowly I start to lose my voice, and I should probably have some water with me rather than just coffee. But that's my detriment, and that's my rookie mistake on these live streams. So I'll have a nice big jug of water next to me for the next one. Yes. Let's get our minds off the goddamn politics. I'm Canadian, so I don't really care as much, but obviously it's dominating our headlines. Uh, but yeah, I will say this. I did have a small live bet on Joe Biden when he was plus 205, I believe it was. Took a little bit of a stab, so I'm really looking forward to cashing that ticket whenever they officially decide on the elections. All right, we got less than 1 minute. Stephen Flanagan, happy to see me on the Odd Squad for sure. I love those guys over there. It's much more. It's a lot of fun, I should say, and I really hope that they get their act together in terms of having it being more accessible to the wider audience on the YouTube stream. But yeah, all right. Let me wrap this bitch up. Once again, I'll go over my bets for you guys. I got 5 units on Hajurio de Lima and Romanov to go under 1.5. 5 units at minus 190. I believe there's enough value on that all the way up to minus 250. I got 2 units on Glover Teixeira at plus 206 as my dog of the night play. And then I have a unit and a half on Yan Jiaonan at minus 120. Obviously, she's roughly around the minus 165 line now. Not as confident at that line. I did love the minus 120 when I saw that. And then lastly, I have a parlay that you guys obviously won't be able to tag, or tail, I should say, because it had Adrian Yanez, who cashed last week, Kevin Holland, who cashed last week, and then Tanner Bozer to close it off for me. 2 units at minus 110. That's what I'm rolling with tonight. Good luck on your bets tonight. And yeah, let's cash. I'll see you guys on Monday for the next episode of the MMA Lawcast, and then next Saturday as well for another edition of the live odds cast as well too. So yeah, good luck on your bets tonight, and I'll see you guys next week.